Thank you, Ms. Vasquez, and thank you, Mrs. Jane, for meeting with me
It's
today.
nice to see you.
Thank you for
It's nice
meeting
to see you
with us
both.
today, Alejandro.
Okay, well, I have some great news for you. After putting together the information that I gathered from the interview with you, Mrs. Jane, and with you, Ms. Vasquez, and after getting to meet with Alejandro, I have some very good news. We do not have to conduct a full speech and language evaluation on Alejandro.
Wow.
Now, I know you're going to have a lot of questions, and I'm going to briefly go over the main concerns that both of you had that made you want to see about getting his speech and language evaluated.
That would be great. Thanks.
Now, your biggest concern was that Alejandro has not been participating in class these first few weeks. He's only been in school for about 3 weeks now in kindergarten, and his sudden shyness around other children, which you say that is not normal at home.
No, yeah, since we weren't able to enroll him in pre-K in time, he stayed home with us for the first 3 years with his 2 younger siblings and was very social and loving with them. So I was shocked when Mrs. Jane called me and told me that Alejandro was very shy and quiet in class. Should I be worried?
No, everything that Alejandro is going through right now is perfectly normal. Like you said, this is his first time being away from his family, and he's in a new setting, completely different from home, and now on top of that, he's being exposed to a language that he barely knows. What you are seeing with Alejandro right now, Mrs. Jane, is what we call a silent period. When bilingual children in school realize that the language that they speak at home is not understood in the classroom or by others, they may feel like their English is not good enough or that their language is not good enough to make themselves understood in the way that they would like to, so they may stop speaking as a reaction. Right now, he's just focused on listening and learning the language.
Right, so as I said, he's been totally quiet in the classroom, but I have noticed that he likes to be around other children during class and in the playground, and he often watches the other kids talk and play. And at first I wasn't sure if he understood English, but it's clear that he is following what's going on. It makes a lot of sense now. Does that have anything to do with the silent period?
Yes, English language learners like Alejandro typically use this time to observe everyone around them and build an understanding of this foreign vocabulary.
Mm-hmm. So you think that we do not need to be concerned right now about a language impairment?
Correct. For there to be a language impairment, there has to be difficulties present in both languages, not just one. And from what I gathered, his milestones have all been normal. He was not a late talker. He began putting sentences together when he was 2. He knows the Spanish alphabet. He knows numbers in Spanish. And from what you tell me about his interactions with you and his siblings, he is very talkative in Spanish and can have conversations as well as your 5 and 6-year-old children. He was a bit shy, just like you said, Mrs. Jane, when I approached him during snack time. But when I started speaking to him in Spanish, it was like I was seeing a whole different person. He quickly came out of his shell and even offered me a cookie. It was great.
Actually, today I noticed that he seemed to be coming out of his shell a little bit and speaking a little bit more. I've never seen him initiate a conversation, and he does not raise his hand in class to participate, but he has been answering the other kids when they talk to him in very quiet one-word answers.
Wow, I'm so happy to hear that. How long
Yeah.
do you think it'll take until he starts to have the confidence to start speaking in English?
Well, Alejandro has only been in kindergarten for 3 weeks now. He's going to need a little more time to adjust to the new language, the new routines, and the time that it takes a child to build enough confidence to speak a new language. It's different. It varies with every child. Some may take a few weeks, some may take a few months, but it is important that we keep an eye on him and to see how his language is developing in the next few weeks to ensure that he isn't silent for too long.
So is there any way that I can give him an extra push toward his developing his English language skills?
Absolutely, great question. You can incorporate songs. I know you do that right now, but you can incorporate more songs into classroom routines like cleaning up, learning the days of the week, learning his ABCs, circle time, things like that. Reading stories aloud is also a great way for developing new vocabulary. And it's great for just exposing him to new language in ways that, will entertain him and the other children in the class. Alejandro and all the other children in the class will benefit from as much exposure to any language-rich activities that you can provide. Also, sitting him in front of you, like at the front of the classroom, will help him focus and listen better to what you're saying. You can also assign him a peer buddy in class.
What exactly is a peer buddy?
Okay, great question. It's a student in class that you can pick whoever you feel is going to be the best language model for Alejandro right now. So a student with very strong language skills that he can learn from. And it's going to help him become more comfortable and more confident speaking English. It's going to be less intimidating for him if he just has this one buddy in the classroom that he can practice his English with. And it also wouldn't hurt to have him develop a relationship with someone in the classroom.
That's a great idea.
Sure, it's a great idea. I have a few kids in mind for that who would be
Perfect.
Oh, I just remembered this. I have a question. I heard from a friend of mine that being bilingual can cause a child to become confused and not learn English properly. Should I stop speaking to him in Spanish so that he can practice his English more?
I had actually heard that too. I'm not bilingual myself, but I've always been curious to know if that's true.
Actually, that is an excellent question, and I actually get that asked a lot by a lot of Spanish-speaking parents, and even parents who speak other languages. That is absolutely not true. There is no proof that learning another language will negatively affect a child's language or confuse them in any way. This is actually the time in their life where they can successfully learn more than one language. So I encourage you to let him be bilingual. Let him learn this new language and keep his home language as well. This is actually the best time, like I said before, not in high school like we were told. So definitely give him that push. Let him learn both languages properly. And what he needs right now, Mrs. Vasquez, is a strong language model to learn from. And like you said, your strongest language is Spanish. So that model for him is going to be great. So just read and talk to him in Spanish as much as you can.
Wow, I feel like a huge weight has been lifted off my shoulders. Thank you so much for your help. I would love to keep in touch with you and stay connected about Alejandro.
I would love to be in touch as well. I've learned so much. With the increase of English language learners in school, this has given me new perspective.
Well, you're very welcome, Mrs. Vasquez, and thank you so much for your help, Mrs. Jane. I will be checking in on Alejandro to make sure that he is on the right track, and thank you both for being so involved in his education.
Thank you so much.
Thank
You're welcome.
you. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.